the audio project was a lot. So let's talk about it because I have a lot to say. For our audio project, we decided to talk about the nuances between TikTok and YouTube when it came to being cancelled, and how content creators, their content and their fan bases were actually affected. Because even before delving into the topic, it was very clear that there is a complete difference on how the two are handled. We decided to take the format of a podcast where the interviewer was interviewing a problematic YouTuber and a cancelled TikToker. While both were equally problematic, there was a very clear winner of sorts when it came to the controversy. I think we addressed the topic relatively well in a creative lens. Given more time and more energy, I feel like we could have addressed it better, but all things considered, we did a really good job. I felt the most successful aspect was no doubt the learning I actually did. I missed the class where we learnt about the software as I had COVID, so I did a lot of work on the go, which was both terrifying and liberating, but I now know that regardless of the stakes, I pull through and I get it done. I feel from the second I took the project on, I was learning non-stop, from learning the software and learning how to effectively deal with my group and picking up the pieces when things didn't go right. It was both a lesson in software, self, and people in general. And it was a learning experience I doubt I'll ever forget and will forever grow off. One of the theories I took into account for before recording was shooting to edit. I made a mental note of the video by Jesse Driftwood in the module, keeping in mind the need for extra space before and after the necessary parts of the recordings. I feel personally having this prior knowledge of the need for extra space really helped when it came to editing. Just having that extra 3 seconds between each person talking really made the flow of the audio really smooth when it came to editing. It was really good not having to cut off the first chunk of word and then cutting between arguments. Through the run through, although the run through was smooth, the second edit with space between left room for mistakes, making editing a whole lot easier. Having the video in mind while recording not only saved everyone hours of re-recording everything after a mistake, but the final product was ultimately smoother and more uniform because of the space. Personally, one of my favorite things about audio-based media is the use of sound effects to create visual imagery. While we never really got to do this in our project due to the format, I feel our use of sound effects created a fun and unique feel to the project. It really felt like a trashy drama podcast, which was 100% what we were going for with the content and effects. While editing, I was taken aback by the ease to create suspense with a simple slam effect. I'm easy to please, but it was one of my favorite parts of the process. While editing, I was actually taken aback by the ease to create suspense with a simple slam effect. Making time for errors. This one comes with a grain of salt because my mum has always told me to account for the worst and hope for the best. Although this factor was way more prominent in the group work in comparison to working on my own, not having the control and necessarily the work ethic I'm used to dealing with was a really hard obstacle to overcome for me personally. But with the deadline looming close, all parties pulled through, and after a few late nights, everything came together just in time. During the rough cut presentation, one of the major flaws of our projects was pointed out: the audio quality. As we hadn't really accounted to make time to meet up in person, we had to record our rough cut using different microphones. And obvious to everyone but me, this gave us a variety of different qualities. Not really knowing how to use Audition effectively and attempting to battle the contrast was really difficult. So for the final, we organised a time a little too close to the deadline to meet up and record in the same room with the same microphones, and it made everything flow really easily. Overall, it was an eye-opening experience, and one I think I'll look back to when dealing with groups as a media practitioner. I think it was a very good basis to grow some really key foundations off. Thanks for coming!